Just kind of pop it on here real quick. I picked up some, I don't know, it's mostly baseball cards, I think. But I picked up some binders. There were two binders. It was listed on Facebook Marketplace. It was $50. So it came with the two binders of, like I said, mostly baseball cards. There may be some other stuff mixed in there. I don't recall. But so it came with these two binders. We're going to go through this one. It does not have I call them binders, but this is all it's got, and then it's got the metal. It does not have the flaps or anything like that. But I figured we'd sort through them and see what they got. This is what I find fascinating on these cards. Whoever had them previous, like the gentleman I bought them from, he said his mother took the time to go through here and put all of these cards in order. And by order, I mean alphabetical order of the players. So, like, let me see, I'll tip it up a little bit. I can't really tip this one like I would normally the other ones. But so you got Hank Aaron, then Jim Abbott, and then it just goes into Kurt Abbott, Bobby Abreu. So it is in alphabetical order, which is fascinating. And it makes me wonder how other people kind of sort through their cards, like what they do. Or not sort, but how they, if they were to put them in a binder. Like when I was a kid, I put them in by sets. And then when I sorted in a box, I put them in either by sets or by team. And I know, a lot of people do that. Some sort by players, but this I just found fascinating that somebody actually went in and put all these in alphabetical order. And so I figured we'd go through them together, take a look at what we got. I'm going to try to find a way to, because I can't really stand them up because they're not necessarily in a binder like that. But maybe we can do like that. And I'll just hold them with one hand. So I'm going to pull out like some of the good ones. Being in alphabetical order, I could just thumb straight through to whichever ones, I'm looking for, like a Bonds or a Griffey, which they are in here. There are some Bonds, there are some Griffeys in here. But, like this Hank Aaron card's nice. I'm not going to pull really anything out right now, first kind of going through them. Or actually, you know what? If I can, let me see something real quick. If I can get something underneath, maybe I can tip it up a little bit. Let's see if this works. This is an empty box of 2012 Topps set. That was in something else that I bought, but this was $50 on Facebook Marketplace. It was over in Dothan. There we go. That's not too bad. It was over in Dothan, so I had to drive over there and pick it up. But it was cool. We went over and grabbed it, and there was this binder. There was a Ken Griffey Jr. Beckett like tribute magazine, but it was not in very good shape. There were three, depending on how you want to do it. There were three starting lineups that were included in it, but they were in terrible shape. Like the boxes were busted up, the cards were bent inside. But it was a Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr. had the two cards, and then there was a Mo Vaughn and a Jose Canseco in a Texas Rangers gear, which was very odd. But so, like I said, it was $50 for the whole thing, and he threw in a comic book that he had there that was a Star Trek one. So, but like I said, these are all in alphabetical order, which is it's a lot of time. From somebody who sorts stuff, I don't know that I've ever done anything in alphabetical order or put in a binder. All right, so we got Hank Aaron, Jim Abbott on here. We're going to be pulling out like the Topps Gold, or at least, checking them out. Let's see, Dole Alexander, Rick Aguilera. I didn't see a lot of parallels. There's a Sandy Alomar Jr. Future Star rookie card up there. I wonder if I can prop it up just a smidge more so you guys can see it, or maybe I can scoot in. There we go. We'll scoot in a little bit. But you got a Sandy Alomar Jr. card up here. Most of it's junk wax stuff. Most of it's, cards that probably all of us have. Got a couple of Roberto Alomars up here. There are a few rookie cards in here. I was just, based on sheer volume, I thought the deal was worth it. It's a lot of work. You have to sort through stuff. There's a couple inserts, a couple parallels. Brady Anderson up here. A lot of the stuff, there weren't too many rookie cards, especially of the bigger guys. Hey, what's up? I see you said hi. Yeah, I'm just thumbing through the stuff we got in Dothan not too long ago. This is like the collector's choice. If you need me to tip it up a little bit, if you can't see it, I think it looks all right. Kevin Ape here. The stuff we really want to get to is like the Bonds and the Sosas and Griffies and stuff like that, which there are some Griffies and stuff in here. So, and there's a few parallels floating around. This Steve Avery rookie card. Of course, I always love. I gotta scoot this over because the pages are getting hung up. There's Steve Avery rookie card right here, #1 draft pick. There it is. Seeing those cards are cool. We're definitely be keeping that. That's going to be something for the collection. Let's see. Got a couple of Jeff Bagwell's, Star Power. We got the profile. So there's some inserts in here. You got a little Carlos Baerga, Starstruck up there. There's some nice inserts in here. Let's see. Rookie class. Nobody too exciting on the rookies. Then you got the oversized Topps cards right here. We got Jesse Barfield. I just kind of wanted to go through and see what all we had, see if we had any hidden gems in here. Again, I think volume-wise, probably this was a good purchase for $50 to get these 2 binders. But there's not, I don't think a Danny Batista rookie prospect card is really going to move the needle. But there are still the big players in there. Like there's Albert Bell. I just saw this listing, and I always like to look through binders, and I always think that's generally what I end up getting lately is binders. But I thought, hey, there might be something in there. How we doing? God is great. I picked up this binder the other day, and 2 binders, and I kind of just wanted to go through. Woo. I don't know that I can read all that, but yeah. But I was just kind of going through them to see if I found anything cool or, like maybe an insert that I didn't have. Oh, here's Dante Bichette. As many of you know, if you've ever heard me tell stories before, I have a very rocky relationship with Dante Bichette. I mean, it's neat. It's a good binder. And like this guy did, and I don't know how you sort your stuff, but this guy had his mom had sorted all his cards, and he put them all in alphabetical order. So everything is doesn't matter the set, anything like that. It's just all in alphabetical order. So it works out really cool when I was looking through it, and I could find Griffey or Bonds or something like that. But I thought it was fascinating because I don't sort my cards like that. I always sort mine either by set or by team or something like that. So I just thought it was kind of fascinating. But yeah, so Dante Bichette and I, we played softball in Orlando. And not on the same team. He was on a different team for me. And we had a game against them. And the first 3 times he came up, I was the pitcher. First 3 times Dante Bichette came up, he hit home runs off of me. I mean, not like little bitty home runs. I mean, they went over the fence and out into the street and across the road. So I won the next 3 times that he came up because I did not want to pitch to Dante Bichette anymore. And so now there's some of these, like I noticed this Biggio card up here just kind of got hung up. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, that corner got hung up right there, so that Biggio card is. But then you got this other Biggio. You got the 89 Topps Biggio right there. So, I mean, there's some decent cards in here. There's a couple Wade Boggs down here. I think these signature ones, I think they're silver signatures that are right here for the Joe Bovier. I was looking for some Topps gold and stuff, and this is really where we wanted to get. This is one of the ones we looked for to start with, was Bonds card. There were 2 of the Bazooka Bonds cards in here. Then you got the 89 Topps. You got a couple Collector's Choice, 91 Donruss, both Series 2 and Series 1. Then you come into Bonilla. And I mean, it's just, I think volume-wise, this was well worth it for $50. I don't think I got, ripped off or anything like that. So I did notice. I don't know if you saw that, if anyone saw, but I'm like 21 subscribers short of 500, and so I don't know what happens at 500. But I saw that was a mark that I need to get to. So I was like, well, let me get on here and do some lives or make some more videos. And I was going to go through this stuff tonight anyway, so I figured I'd just pop on here, and if anyone was on, they can hang out. If not, no big deal. I'm gonna be sorting through them anyway. So got a couple George Bretts up here. There was Sid Bream back here, which is always lovely to get a Sid Bream, especially in a Braves jersey. Let's see. We're looking, what I'd like to find are some Topps gold and stuff like that. See, this is always a nice set, that 94 Topps Finest. And I think, take a look at this one. Get it under some light. See these, okay, so the 94 Topps Finest, I don't know if anyone's ever collected these or got, they're refractors. Some of them are. I was looking to see if this is a refractor, but I can't really tell. But I'm going to take it out of this plastic. But it doesn't say refractors like that. We can just tear that. There ain't no sense in keeping that old. But so it doesn't say on it refractor. It's just by the design, if you can tell if it's a refractor, which I'm going to look over here. That's not a refractor. You can see in the 94 Topps Finest. How we doing? We're just sorting through some cards that we picked up on Facebook Marketplace the other day. But the 94 Finest set's really a nice, clean set. And the refractors, I just bought a couple Tim Raines refractors that were, I'll use these sleeves. I just bought a couple Tim Raines refractors from that set. And they were, they weren't hugely, they were like $10 a piece. But we'll get that Jay Buhner out of there. I mean, the 94 Topps Finest is still a nice, clean set. Not that Jay Buhner's a huge one, but there's a couple Jay Buhner cards. Like I said, mainly we thumbed through here real quick since it was in alphabetical order to look for the Bonzes. There's an Ellis Burks up there, one of the silver signatures. But we popped through it to, kind of look for the Bonds, look for the Griffey, which will be coming up on the Griffies in a little bit. Canseco. And what I did notice about some of it is like, there's a few that this stuff's missing. I don't know if it was taken out, as a kid, maybe gotten rid of, or if it just didn't fill those spots in. There's a couple Canseco cards, little 90 Donruss, little sports flicks. I don't know if you can, there you go. Yeah, you can see it. What constitutes a good card? Okay, so as far as in this junk wax stuff, the good cards are going to be your insert cards that are few and far between. Like, so take the, let me see, do we have it? I'll take this 91 Donruss up here. There's going to be cards in there called the Elite Series that are, they're numbered to, can't remember if it's 10,000, 25,000. Yeah. So, in this stuff in junk wax, if you get a card that's worth $4 or $5, that's going to be a good card in junk wax. But those Elite Series ones, I know, I can't remember who makes it, like Flair maybe or something, made like a credit card looking card that comes in gold and silver and different one. Like those inserts that are hard to pull in the junk wax kind of era, it'd be mid to late 90s. That stuff's worth money. Like a top gold here. So if you got it was 92, I think it's 92 or 93, like the Jeter rookie and a Topps Gold, that's worth like 40 or $50 because the Topps Gold is hard to pull. But this is I don't even know who that is. I can't even read it. Mark Carrion, and Topps Gold's not worth a thing. There are error cards that are worth some money. Like if you get, so it's kind of like an MVP card, but a 90 Donruss, this is 91. In 90 Donruss, there's a couple error cards like that, or like a reverse negative. Stuff that's rare is what's going to be a good card. Yeah, me personally, how I would organize it, like I said, this person I bought them from, his mom put them all in these binders. There's two different binders, and his mom put them all in the binders and put them in alphabetical order, which I have never put my cards in alphabetical order, but I find it fascinating that somebody does. It's just a different way of sorting and collecting, I guess. I would always put it in sets, or I would put it by teams and, sometimes in a binder. But, I would put it in set order if I had it in a binder, in a box even. But so, what you're looking for in this stuff to be constitute a good card, they're going to be a really good player, and it's going to have to be an insert of some sort or a parallel or something like that. Like all these Roger Clemens cards, if you were trying to make money on them, you would put all these together and probably just sell them as a lot because none of this is really rare. None of this is an insert. Now, when you get into people like Griffey or like stuff like that, you could probably sell some of those individually. But yeah, this is just based on the volume of this stuff. It was worth it to pay $50 for all this stuff because the Bonds cards alone in there, probably put them together, they're $5 or $6. These Griffey cards in here, when we get to them, they're probably $15, $20 if you put them all together. There's a couple of rookies, kind of in between. But really, when you buy this stuff, you want to try to look for something that somebody might not have, or you know, that it's hard to find. And you're like, oh, you wouldn't expect everyone to have this card. Like there's a Johnny Damon rookie, you know, and but it's not worth a lot of money. But there's somebody out there looking for a Johnny Damon rookie, you know. So you kind of want to, you hope you come through this stuff, and you're like, oh, that's an error card, or that's, you know, that's a parallel that's really rare or something like that. And that's what you're hoping for when you buy this stuff like this. But for $50, I mean, I could take all these cards and put them all together by the players and, you know, sell it off like that and get some money back. So, I mean, it was worth it to make the purchase. It's just going to be a lot of work. But that's what I like doing. I have fun with it. And that's really why you should buy the cards. Have cards of three best pitchers ever: Clemens, Nolan Ryan, and Kershaw. Yeah. And you know, there's going to be cards of all of them. There's a lot of Nolan Ryan inserts that command a lot of money. The same thing with Kershaw. There's a lot of newer parallels and inserts and stuff like that with Kershaw. And Roger Clemens, same way. He's going to have, if you find some of those parallels, or like, if I can show you this, if I can get this Mike Devereaux card. So this is a 90, was it 95? Score, I think. Yeah, this is a 95 score. They did a parallel of this, so across the back it'll say Gold Rush, and the card itself will be gold around here. So that's a parallel. If you get a good player in that parallel, it's worth a couple dollars. But hey, how we doing? So Robert, we're just I just picked these up off of Facebook Marketplace like last week. So I was like, well, I was going to sort through them tonight, and I figured I'd pop on here and, you know, sort through it with you guys. So some of the other parallels that you might look for, like how to know if it's worth money. So these top stadium clubs up here are like, that's red. That's a red color, but there's a gold, and that gold is kind of a parallel. If it's a bigger player, you know, the parallel is going to be worth kind of 2 times the money. Hang on one second. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry. Had to run a cat off who wants to try to get in here. He loves to get in here and tear stuff up. And I don't want him doing that while I'm in here. Yeah, see, now with Shohei, yes, Shohei is probably your best person that's going to have the most. I mean, he's also one of the higher priced ones, but he's also the one that's probably going to go up in price. But this stuff here is all kind of junk wax stuff, so I don't think there's going to be any Shohei cards in here, because this was like the kid's childhood cards. Now I have a couple Shohei. Like I got a Shohei rookie. I had another one, but I sold it a while ago. But I have plenty of Shohei cards, just not a lot of big ones. But you see, like the Stadium Club, like the finest, these are all pretty cool. And these are kind of an insert, so you see they're 3 out of 12 instead of having a number on the back. So these are kind of an insert with the bigger players. It'll command a little more money. Not that Lenny Dykstra is a big player. Like the best player right now, I mean, is obviously going to be Shohei. As far as like a prospect goes, or a rookie, I mean, there's if you're in that school of collecting cards, of only collecting the GOATs and who's going to be the GOAT, you know, right now Judge, Shohei are on that path. There's a few guys that, you know, Bobby Witt and people like that, but that's who everybody's chasing. And you never know with those guys. So Shohei could, you know, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, but Shohei could, you know, tear an ACL, or, you know, need Tommy John surgery or anything like that, and then you're stuck with all those cards. Skeens is good. Harper's good. Guys that are going to make the Hall of Fame, or you think are going to make the Hall of Fame, generally have some value, even moving forward, like a Harper. Those other guys, I don't think Buxton ever will. Skeens might, but they're all still young. I mean, you take a guy like Strasburg, who, you know, was Skeens before Skeens was here, and Strasburg looked like he was going to set the world on fire, and he, you know, injuries and just couldn't get his command right at times, you know, stuff like that. You end up, you know, somebody that you thought was going to be a big star, they just end up with an injury, and it could happen to anybody. I mean, look at Trout. Trout was commanding the world with, the numbers he was putting up, and he was the most feared player there was. And then injury and down seasons, mostly due to injury. It's, you know, just kind of all depends. So we're coming up on getting on the Griffey here a little bit. Here's a couple Alex Fernandez rookies. And like the oversized ones, I hate them being in the binders like that because they stick out at the top. But this set right here is not really worth that much anyway. So there might be one or two players that are worth anything. But I always like the little sports flicks right here, how it moves. Those are always cool cards. Yeah, like Montana's going to be good. I have a ton of Emmitt Smith stuff because Emmitt Smith was my favorite player. So I hold on to just about every Emmitt Smith card that I get. The one thing I'm trying to get, like I'm actually a University of Florida fan, which is why I was an Emmitt Smith fan. But the one card I keep looking at that I want to get is it's a Leaf card, I believe. It's on eBay all the time. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy that one day, but I never do. Is a Emmitt Smith and Tim Tebow autograph card. But I never do go after it. But yeah, so you got like I was saying, the Topps Finest around here is a decent set around these early 90s stuff. This is Cliff Floyd. It's not a refractor because the light comes off of it, but they don't say refractors on them like the 93. But they're still a nice set. And some of them come with they used to come with a protector on there to say like protective cover. But I always kind of pull out the Topps Finest stuff because there was a expensive set at the time, like to buy a box of it or buy a pack of it. And so I always kind of pull those cards out. And you never know. But again, like 93, you're going to want to be getting some of the rookies out of there, like if you came across a Jeter or something like that around that time. There's a couple Galarraga cards in here. I just, Ron Gant. Like, I would love that Ron Gant card right up there if he were in a Braves uniform. Like the award winner, but that's when he was with the Reds. And I like some of these Ted Williams kind of throwback cards over here. But, you just hope that somewhere in here is going to be a parallel that somebody missed that's worth some money. Like there's a Nomar rookie card right there. And it's not in terrible shape. Not that I would get a Topps Future Star Nomar graded or anything, but some people do. There's a few of them out there. But like these are kind of parallels right here with the silver signatures. Now, if you had a bigger name player of this and the silver signatures, like I said, it's going to be worth more money. Like if you've got these in the basketball of Jordan or something like that, it's not really a signature. It's just, the silver signatures are kind of that parallel set, like a Topps Gold or something like that. But let's see. We're almost up to Griffey. We got a little Doc Gooden on here, Mark Grace. And there's a Grace Topps Finest. We'll take that out of there. I'll go through later and pull everything out but I just kind of want to look through and see what all we got. But see, those Topps Finest they're just nice, clean chrome cards. You can see, and the surface on it looks good. Not that I would ever grade a Mark Grace, but those are the cards that you want it to be one of those bigger players. All right, so we're coming up. A little Mike Greenwell. Mike Greenwell. And then here's the Griffey. So this is one of the first ones that we thumbed to. We thumbed the Bonds, and we found those cards, and then we thumbed back here to the Griffey. Unfortunately, there were no Griffey rookies in here, and this kind of, we'll say die cut. This kind of die cut above the rest up here on this, it's not really worth anything. Now this Upper Deck one up here is always a pretty card to have, but it's the value's in his rookie cards, not these die cut ones over here. But these inserts all carry, some weight to them, some value, whether it be $2, $3. Like Griffey's going to be one of those guys that when you buy these binders that you want to look for. So you've got your Stadium Club up here. You've got this insert here, and the inserts are actually Griffey inserts have a little bit of hop to them. And if you pair them together with each other, and there's people looking for that or building Griffey sets out, that is pretty nice. Ty Griffin back in the day was supposed to be a stud, one of those guys everybody was collecting, and he was going to be the next big thing, and did not pan out. And that's what we were talking about with the prospecting and with the players. You just never know how they're going to pan out, especially with those young guys. So that's why people always say, oh, buy the GOATs. you know, and even then, you don't know. Mike Trout would have been the way to go years ago. So there's some Tony Gwynn in here, which this is really nice. This is a Pinnacle behind the numbers. I think that's a pretty cool card. We'll take that out. We'll sleeve that one up for sure. But and there's a so like, you know, you got this Tony Gwynn here, and some of these I know I didn't show you guys, but some of them are duplicates. So, you know, not all of them. There's a couple of them. It's not like that vintage set that we bought that just had duplicate after duplicate after triplicate. But I mean, all in all, the $50 that we paid for it, I think is easily worth it. There's this binder and there's one more binder. I thought this was pretty cool. This is a Vic Harris card. Let me see if I can get, yeah, there we go. This is a Vic Harris card, Vicious Vic Harris. And we actually just bought one of his Helmar stamp cards. It was like 3 months ago that we bought. That was pretty cool. And then when I saw this, I was like, oh man, that's really neat. Because I was trying to see if they had any more Griffies in here, but that was it on the Griffies. There's about 13 of them. Got a Hatteberg rookie. Not that the Hatteberg's worth anything. A Troy Hawkins. There's a relief pitcher for the Cubs. But you know, I don't think there's anything in here like a rare. There's a Todd Helton rookie. I think that's not bad. Let me see if I can get that out of this. There we go. Todd Helton rookie. There's actually two of them. That's a draft pick rookie. So if you wanted to make a little money, you put those two together and sell them for like $250, you know, or something like that. Buy it now. You might get rid of them. You never know. Oral Hershiser, and then you roll into Hershiser a little bit. I haven't seen any other sports. I think there was some Jordans in here though. I remember kind of thumbing through it and seeing there's some Trevor Hoffmans, rookie sensation. I mean, what you're really looking for is some big name player rookie cards. And like I said, there were no Bonds rookies. There were no Griffey rookies. But there's, you know, some minor Hall of Famers and some veterans and all-stars. There's an Isringhausen rookie, Jason Isringhausen. Then you get into Bo, which there is 5 Bo cards. I'm going to get this one out of here because, like I said, these make me nervous. And this is one of the one. Remember when I said earlier that most of these aren't worth anything? This is actually one of the ones that is. And this is the one problem that you get when you get cards that are in holders or cards that are in these binders is they like to stick. There we go. Now for this, like people always ask, well, what do you do on these bigger cards? I have some vintage size sleeves. I think this is one of them. We're about to find out. I have some vintage size sleeves and I have some vintage size holders. And these are about the same size as, yep. Oh, but you can see right here on this Bo, you can see I didn't even look at that. Yep. There you go. I don't even need to sleeve that up because it stuck to itself. But you can see that corner is flippy floppy. Oh well, it's a Bo card. We'll sleeve it up. Like with that stuff, if you wanted to, you know, if you're trying to make your money back and you're just chasing money, you put all those Bo cards in the 90 Donruss ones. You put them in a lot and you just sell them as, you know, I've got 7 or 8 Bo cards and you can throw this one in there. I wouldn't put it in the listing. I would just throw it in as an extra card and either, you know, excuse me, that way they don't think you're, you know, trying to pull one over on them or something. All right, let's see. So, I mean, you know, like the Shoeless Joe Jackson card that you see in here, the Cracker Jack one, it's a reprint. That's not an actual, I mean, it's an actual Shoeless Joe Jackson card, but it's not an actual Cracker Jack one from that time period. This was made in '93 by Borden Dairy. But so it's just a little reprint of it. Like when you see that stuff, most of the time it's going to be a little reprint. It's not going to be the actual card, especially in something like this. Something around the junk wax there. So you got to these Jeters, and that's what I was saying. When you get to Jeter, you know, this is a Jeter rookie right here. So, but it's not in terrible condition. So you want to sleeve up that Jeter rookie. You want to put it maybe with this other Jeter card. There's 2 more Jeter cards in here. There's a hit and run up there. Then you get into Charles Johnson, Lance Johnson, Hojo. There's 2 of him. You can pair them up and try to sell them like that. But you got Randy Johnson down here. And what I was saying is, so the Randy Johnson cards, like people like that, the inserts are going to be about the only place, that there's going to be money on it, unless it's a Randy Johnson rookie. 89 Don Russ, Randy Johnson rookie card with that Marlboro thing in the back. Now, me personally, you guys know, if there's Chipper Jones cards, I'm buying them. So I love this card. I'm always a big fan of this. And I'm glad it's in here. Just because I love the picture on that. Like, that's just a sweet card with that angle. But all the Chipper stuff we're going to keep, even though I'm pretty sure that I have all of these. I know I have this one. But most likely, if it's a good deal and there's a couple of Chipper cards in there, I'm probably going to snatch it up. But, like, even if you put these 3 Chipper cards together to sell, maybe sell them for $3. So, but this was the other thing when I was like, oh, well, Chipper's in there. You have these cards. Just like I said, I was like, there are Jordan cards in here. So you have these. These are Upper Deck cards. It's a 1 of 1. It's Jordan was with the Barons. And so you have these cards, and they're insert cards, but they're not worth hardly anything. Now, saying that, if they were in outstanding condition, and you got them graded and like a PSA 10, then they are worth some money. But we are going to take those cards out because I have a bunch of other Jordan cards that I can put that with. Yeah, there's a couple of them. And like I was saying, if you want to put all these together and you want to make a 4 lot of the Jordan baseball cards, you can probably get $3 or $4 for it. There are people out there that collect the baseball cards. I mean, I only collect that. As you can see, it's just a little set. I don't know how many are in it, but the only ones I collect that baseball card are the 91 Upper Deck with him in the White Sox gear. But there are people that collect Michael Jordan Speed 1-on-1. A couple Dave Justice cards. Nothing too exciting on the Justice cards. I was trying to see if there were any of those score golds that I was talking about earlier with you guys. Here is Ron Karkovice, one of the prides of Boone High School himself. Good old Ron Karkovice. I think he graduated in 83, maybe 82 or 83 from high school. Jeff Kent. You got a couple of rookies up here, but so far Jeter's probably the best rookie that we've pulled out. Little Ryan Klesko. There's some minor league cards. Like I said, these are those silver signature ones on old Chad Kruger here. There's Chuck Knobloch right here. And you can see that he's throwing that ball into the bleachers right there on that one. You did get a Canerco rookie. There was a Canerco rookie in here. And this was Chuck Knobloch after he threw the ball into the bleachers on another play. It's pretty cool. You get some of there was a couple of these in there of the Women of Baseball or whatever whatever Ted Williams set was, had a few of those. I think there's one more in here like that. I thought was pretty neat. But, I mean, there's a lot of veterans and superstars and stuff like that in here. But there's Barry Larkin, a couple Hall of Famers. Obviously, Barry Larkin's in here. So, was it worth it? Yeah, probably. I mean, it was definitely worth it to spend $50 and even to drive there and pick him up and bring him back. I went to a movie that night. There's Javi Lopez. We'll probably keep Javi Lopez's stuff. It's a little sports flick. Javi Lopez kind of moves. But so this was the first binder, and it stopped right after Fred Lynn. And this is what I was talking about earlier. So the Topps Stadium Club, the parallels are going to have that gold instead of that red. And so that's a parallel one. So if you get that, like you were asking earlier, what makes a good card? If you get a good player of that in the gold, then it's going to be worth a lot more money than just the red one, than the base one. So, okay. So this was the underbinder that picks up right after Fred Lynn. So we're going to be basically M through Z on here. So we will see. I don't know that I looked through this one, so we'll look and see. Yep, there's Maddox. There's a little Maddox for you on that one. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Maddoxes. There's a couple Pat Mahomes, but that is going to be senior. It's going to be Pat Mahomes senior on those. Obviously, if it were his son, it'd be worth a lot more money. Try not to knock this light over here. Let's see. Maybe turn it like that. There we go. So we'll see who else is in here. Candy Maldonado. Now, there's one card of his that's especially good. I can't remember if it's 91 or 92 upper deck. But on the back of it, there's a picture, like right here, kind of in this one. Let me see if I can turn it. There we go. So like right here in the picture on that card, it's him running out to catch a fly ball, and sitting in the back is like Corey Haim. And so that card has some value, kind of like similar to the Menendez brothers card, you know, of who's in the background. But there's a couple, Edgar Martinez and Pedro Martinez. A little Pedro right there. So we can back this up a little bit. There we go. And then you got Ramon Martinez. Like I said, this Cracker Jack ball card, it's a 93 reprint. That's not the actual little small one. You got a couple Don Mattingly's here. Tino Martinez. I mean, there's some good players in here. And if you pull out some rookie cards of them, like that Willie McCovey Ziploc card, that looks pretty cool. Because that's one that not a lot of people probably would have collected. Not that it's really worth anything, and you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but like right here, there's a big crease down it. There it is right there. And there too. So, I mean, that's a cool card, but not in great shape. Let's see, Ben McDonald. Oh, that Fred McGriff looks pretty cool. I'm going to check that out. That's a neat looking card right there. Look at that. Nowadays, I would almost say that was numbered, but it's a You Crashed a Game. It's like a sweepstakes card or something like that. But that's pretty neat looking. We'll set that one aside. We'll hang on to that. But there's a couple of Fred McGriff cards. One Vladdy Guerrero, who got mixed in the middle there with Fred McGriff. And that's kind of what I was hoping for. It's like, oh, let's find something hidden or something mixed up. We got a couple Mark McGuire's up here. Again, no rookies, no nothing major, but you know, it doesn't hurt to have those players. Kent Merker, got a Kent Merker rookie. Okay, so here's what I was saying earlier. This card up here, this is one of the Gold Rush ones. That's what we were looking for. So you can see you've got the gold border around it. And then, like I said, on the back, it's got stamped Gold Rush. So this is the parallel of that 95 score set is Gold Rush. Is one of the parallels. I'm sure they probably have other ones, but the Gold Rush is that parallel. Now, obviously, a Kent Merker one's not worth anything, but if you had, you know, Griffey or Bonds or something like that, then the Gold Rush is going to be worth more than the base one. And you just, you know, you kind of just got to be able to catch it with your eye. And on the back of those, you can see Gold Rush. Just like on here, on this one. Let me see. Let me scoot this over a little bit more. Just like on this one, if it was a Gold Rush, it would say Gold Rush right across there for that card. Oh, that's pretty sweet looking. I always like these 95 Fleer cards like this. Is pretty sweet. Look at that. It's Raul Mondesi, but it's kind of like an art card. And that's just cool looking. I mean, I always thought that stuff's kind of neat. And there are people that look for things like that. Those are kind of some of the insert sets that people are looking for. Obviously not of Raul Mondesi, but there might be a Mondesi person out there. There's Jamie Moyer. He was 85 in that picture. 85 years old. Still throwing. Dale Murphy. Always like when we get some Dale Murphy cards. However, what I didn't like about the Dale Murphy cards in here, both of them that are in here, Phillies jerseys. Not that I care that he played for the Phillies, but, you know, I want my guy in a Braves uniform. Don't let me down, buddy. But see, Phillies. A couple Eddie Murrays. A couple Mike Mussinas. I don't think that's a rookie card. No. Let's see. Randy Myers. There's another Pedro. Pedro was on the other page with Ramon Martinez. See, sometimes we just end up in weird spots. Jamie Navarro, Otis Nixon, who I saw at the Braves game a couple years ago. Hideo Nomo. There's some Paul O'Neill. See that? Well, there's Nomo up here. And then you got your Paul O'Neill, and see that's just a regular 95 score. That's not the Gold Rush. I'm trying to get it where you guys can see it. But that's just the regular, like tan. Got Charlie O'Brien. I mean, I don't know that any of these cards are going to make $1 million. I know none of them are, but it's just cool to kind of look through them. Like, this is another Gold Rush card right here. You can see the gold border. There's Joe Oliver, the other pride of Boone High School. Maybe it was Joe Oliver that graduated in '83 and Karkovice graduated in '81, something like that. Because I think they were right after each other. They went from having one great catcher to another one. Again, there are no parallels in here that are huge. There are no rookies that I've come across so far that are huge. There's a little Chan-Ho Park, a couple Chan-Ho Parks. But there's a few cards in here that got $1 value, $2 value, $5 value. We got some Lance Parrish. If we had some Larry Parrish in here, I could see about getting it signed, but I don't see any. A little TP, a couple TP cards. I mean, again, am I retiring off of this? No. Was it worth the $50 that I spent to buy the 2 binders? Absolutely. I think that Pettit card's pretty cool looking. Couple, and you see now this Andy Pettit card up here. They're the silver signature. I think it's silver. I don't have to look all these up, but that Pettit card, has got a little more value than just a regular one. You got Tony Phillips over here, a little Piazza, but no Piazza rookies. So I think the Jeter rookie is probably the biggest rookie that we found so far. There's a little Kirby Puckett. We got a decent amount of Kirby Puckett. 1, 2, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Kirby Pucketts. But that's just the red, the basic red. That's not the gold parallel. Oh, we got Tim Raines. It would have really made me mad if I would have bought this and that Tim Raines 94 Topps Finest that I had bought off of eBay was in here. I'd have been like, son of a... There's a Manny Ramirez. That's a young Manny Ramirez, too. When he was on the Indians. I don't know if that's a rookie or not. We're going to look. No. That's okay. Still young Manny Ramirez. There's Manny Ramirez right there as well. Willie Randolph. We're kind of got past the bigger players that we'd be looking for. We still got a few, like Ripken in here. But, that Great Gloves one is a nice card. But again, none of these inserts that are in here are the big inserts or the big parallels. Now this, okay, so I will show you guys something. I will show you one thing. So what year is that? 94? Yeah, I think other years did it too. So 94 Topps Stadium Club. You have, and it's kind of like nowadays when they have First Bowman and First Edition and stuff like that. So this is a Ben Rivera Topps Stadium Club from 94. So you got that card. And then there's another one in here that you can see. So what they did, and this is a parallel, this was a first day issue. So they put a little stamp on there that said first day issue. These are going to be worth more than the other ones. Exact same card, but this was just printed on the first day. So it's going to be like a first off the line type thing, or, like Topps has the first card printed. This is the first card printed, but it was printed on the first day. And so it gets a little stamp on it. So this card, I mean, neither one of these cards are worth anything, but if this one were worth half a penny, this one is worth a penny. Now, if it was Jeter or it was Bonds or it was something like that, that would be worth a lot more. But that's just a little when you're sorting through stuff. If it's got that first day, let me see if I can get a better light on it so you guys can read it. Well, you can't really hardly read it anyway. But it's the first day issue is what it says right there. So when you're looking at these cards and you come across them, then that's the one you want to get if you had the option of the two. So that's another parallel, because you were asking me about parallels earlier. That's just another parallel that's floating around out there. Those first day issues. But again, you want those parallels to be of, and see, that's what I was trying to avoid. All right. The weight got a little heavy. Let's do this. Okay. Maybe that's a little better. All right. But we got a little Pudge Rodriguez down here. I don't think it's any rookie cards of his. Like players like that are Hall of Famers, or, going to be Hall of Famers, superstars, but they're not top tier. They're not Griffey. They're not Bonds. They're not, Roger Clemens, something like that of this era. Those aren't, unless it's a rookie card, it's not going to be worth much. Like that, Scott Rowland, prime prospect, Bowman is a rookie. It's a prospect card. But I don't think it's anything special about it other than that, but it's a cool looking card. Like one of those rainbow foils they have nowadays. We'll set that aside. This made me excited. I was like, ooh, there's an 89 Upper Deck in here. But they didn't have an 89 Upper Deck Griffey. That's one of the few 89 Upper Decks in here. But then someone asked about Nolan Ryan earlier. We got 3 Nolan Ryan cards. We will take, see, but that's what I was saying about these. Oh, and he's stuck in there. Yeah, that's rough shape. We'll just leave it up there. But you can see like it's all bent up at the top. So there were, we'll say 2 Nolan Ryan cards in there. A Jimmy Dean and a Topps. Got Chris Sabo, a couple Chris Sabo cards. And there are collectors out there for all this stuff. It's just that's not a lot of money. Like there may be somebody out there buying Tim Salmon cards, but there's going to be few and far between, and it's going to be not for a lot of money. So, but like this on this Dion card, if that were the Gold Rush, it'd be worth a little bit more, maybe a nickel more or 10 cents more. But these Dion cards, Ryan Sandberg's, always nice. I like the photography on the Jimmy Dean cards, but I mean, they're Jimmy Dean sausage cards. So take that as you will. But I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think it was worth $50 for all these cards? There's a Kurt Schilling. A couple. There's one Kurt Schilling. Let me see. Maybe not. Maybe there's more than one. Nope, one. One Kurt Schilling. Mike Schmidt. You got 2 Mike Schmidts. Red Show and Dice. Just coming out of the... There he goes. Mike Sosa. I didn't realize until we started going through that there are some that have 2 cards in them. So I'll have to go back through and kind of pull those out. There's a Sheffield card. Ruben Sierra. I mean, again, none of this is going to be making anybody some money, but they're just a couple cool cards to have. Like, I don't think anyone's really looking for a Dwayne Singleton rookie card. But this Ozzie Smith card looks pretty sweet. We may take that out of there. Just because I really like Stadium Club, especially the Junk Wax kind of Stadium Club. Like, that's just a cool looking card with a chrome on it. Yeah, that's pretty neat. I like that. Topps Stadium Club Finest. But yeah, there's a couple Ozzy cards in here. There's a Smoltz card, and it actually is John Smoltz. If you're familiar with the John Smoltz Tom Glavine mix-up, where the pictures are mixed up, that's the actual John Smoltz. I think it's the Smoltz cards mixed up, but this is the actual Smoltz picture on there. So there's a couple John Smoltz, Luis Sosa, and then we get into Sosa. I was hoping there'd be a Sosa, like one of the big rookies in here, but about all you get is the 90 Fleer. Then this is all 91, but you still got a 90 Fleer in there, so that's pretty good. A couple Sosa cards. We're into the S's. Like I said, it's very, very unusual for someone to sort their cards in alphabetical order, but that's what we did here. Not we. That's what the person we bought it from did. Kevin Stocker. BJ Surhoff. Darryl Strawberry. Some Darryl Strawberry up at the top. Bruce Sutter, Rick Sutcliffe. I don't know who that is. Mike Sweeney. That might be a rookie card on Mike Sweeney. No, second year. Tartable. Got a couple minor league cards mixed in here. There we go. That's what I was trying to get to. Frank Thomas down here on the bottom. You got 4 Frank Thomas cards. Again, these Stadium Club ones are just the red, so they're not the parallel. And then you've got this die cut Frank Thomas up here at the top. I think like Robin Yount and all that are still coming up. But you got these Frank Thomas cards up here. That's die cut, but it's not worth a ton of money. You got Jim Thome here. Let's see. Who else we got? Alan Trammell. Michael Tucker. Like there's a Michael Tucker rookie card, but I don't know anybody that's really looking for that. Or Chris Truby. But it just goes to show you, like going through here, like Ugueth Urbina. He was an excellent closer for a while, but it just goes to show you like how many players have come through the majors that people don't remember their names and don't. That's why we do our series on tales of big players past. Just to kind of, some of those, there's Fernando Valenzuela, Andy Van Slyke with the 87 tops in there. Greg Vaughn. Now you can see this Greg Vaughn up here. See, I'll move the. You can see this Greg Vaughn up here is one of the gold parallels. Now again, Greg Vaughn, not necessarily a card anybody's looking for, but it is a gold parallel. Then you got Movon. I didn't see a lot of like David Ortiz or people like that. You got Robin Ventura, which some people collect that. Omar Vizquel. If you ever have any Omar Vizquel stuff that's low numbered or short print, there are very specific buyers out there that if you can get it out on the market quick or you can get it listed, you can get a pretty premium price for Omar Vizquel. That's one of those players that you kind of should be on the lookout for. But what happens is it's like 1 or 2 guys, and if they've already got the card, they're not bidding on it anymore. So you got to get it out fast. Like if you get in a break or something, or you get in a pack of a new product that comes out, you've got to get Omar listed quickly before they purchase what they want. But they'll spend big money on Omar Vizquel just to start with. But here's a Billy Wagner rookie card. Top prospect, Billy Wagner. There we go. So that's just a little tip. And sitting on some Omar Vizquel, very rare stuff. If you haven't seen it sell for that, there are 1 or 2 and there's only 1 or 2 guys that purchase them, but they will pay a good amount of money. I sold one Omar Vizquel card to one of those guys many years ago. Let's see. Bob Welch. It's just, there's little pockets of niche collectors that are looking for stuff. I look for some weird, rare stuff, but generally I can't afford it, so don't have to worry about it too much. I just like to look for it. Let's see, Rondell White. But like a lot of these players, you know, back in the day, I've been chasing all these guys because they're going to be the next big star. Bernie Williams. And a lot of these guys, that's Matt Williams down here. A lot of these guys didn't turn into the next big star. Oh, that's cool. This is from that Ted Williams set. It's actually Ted Williams itself. See, Ted Williams. But their whole set with a Ted Williams print on it. I just like the Ted Williams one from the Ted Williams set. I always thought was pretty cool. So we'll hang on to that. We'll probably keep that card. Most of these we're not going to be keeping. We'll just lot them up and get rid of them. But ones we don't have, we will keep and add to our sets that we're trying to fill. I thought this was kind of interesting back here when we get back to it. There's a Carl Yastrzemski into the puzzle piece. Like I said, there were a couple of Robin Younts here at the end. Got some Todd Zeile. Zeile usually wraps it up. And then we got down here, which I thought was pretty cool, kind of some of the inserts and the checklists and stuff. So, you know, some of these checklists are cool if you get them in a parallel. It's not too bad. You got the Durham Athletics Park right there. We've got the Dr. Dirt and Mr. Clean with Dale Murphy and Lenny Dykstra. That's a cool card. The Sandberg Andre Dawson card. So kind of in the back here, we got it. This is what I thought was pretty cool. We got into the puzzle pieces, which you guys know we save all our puzzle pieces. Not that we're ever going to put them together, but back here you got into your split cards. So like you got Andrew Jones and then Scott Rowland. And they're very interesting cards. And like you can, it's weird because you've got, it's like you can fold, you got Eddie Murray, and I'm assuming that is Ryan Sandberg. And so I don't know how all these cards go together because I don't think that I ever collected this set. But it's all different kind of halves of the guys. And that's from, I think it's from Pinnacle. Yeah, they're Pinnacle cards. I don't really have any of those in my collection. Well, now I do. I mean, now I got a couple of them. But it's got, so this has got Nomar and A-Rod, I'm assuming. And then you got Larry Walker and Ellis Burks on that backside. So then you've got some of your, these are kind of parallel sets. Or not parallel, these are kind of like, Nestle and things like that. But we got a Chipper one, which I have that card. Piazza, Helton, A-Rod, a couple A-Rod cards. And, that's really about it. Like I said, there was 3 starting lineups that came with it. There was a King Griffey Jr. and a King Griffey Sr. And there was Mo Vaughn, and then there was a Mo Vaughn and a Red Sox. The King Griffey Jr. one, they're together in it. And the King Griffey Jr. one, he's in a Mariners, and King Griffey Sr. is in a Reds uniform. So, yeah, I guess that's really about it. See if I can turn around. Yeah. So I guess that's really about it. That's all we kind of got. I was hoping to do about an hour, and we're almost there. I'd say the best card we got, and I don't even know if I took it out of there. I think I did. Was that Jeter rookie? And again, it's only worth a couple dollars. But we'll kind of do a little recap. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So we got the Jeter rookie out of there. It's a 96. Now, this is interesting because there's 96 is not his rookie card. There's some earlier ones than that. But in score, considered his rookie card. And I think that was probably close to his rookie year. Yeah, because I think 95 he got called up by the Yankees. But he's got a Topps rookie card before that. And then the other ones that we've got that are, somewhat decent that people would probably purchase would be those Jordan 101 cards right here, like that. We got Speed. We got 94 Autumn. We got 94 Season. And we got Fielding. So, but personally, my favorite, because I always love these cards, are the 94 Topps Finest that were in there. There's a couple of them. And then I really liked this die cut Pinnacle Tony Gwynn, which is pretty cool looking. So, yeah, I mean, all in all, it's worth it, but it's a lot of work to sell those cards, to get them lotted up. I'm going to go through, keep the ones that I don't have that I like, of decent players. I'm not keeping one of, Rondell White from 1993 or something like that. I'm going to keep the ones that I want or I need to add to my set. But yeah, I mean, that's really about it. I'm going to sort through some vintage stuff that I got up here, but I'm not going to bore you guys with that. But yeah, the vintage stuff is pretty cool. Let me see. Like, I'll show you a couple of but these are like the vintage ones that I've been going through. So I've been trying to keep them in order. What I'm doing with those is I have a master set that I'm building, like a set of the stuff that I want to keep. And then all the other ones I'm just keeping in order. So I've got 55, 56, 57, 58, and 59 sets that I'm going through. A couple 55 Bowman. Is it Bowman? No. I don't remember now. It's been so long since I sorted through them. But while I'm in this room, I'm going to go ahead and sort through them. But we're about up to an hour, so I'll let it tick over to an hour so I can say we did an hour. I appreciate everybody for watching and popping in, and and hopefully you guys enjoyed that and saw me sorting through some junk wax that you actually enjoyed and liked. And if you saw anything you guys liked or you want me to talk about more, let me know next time. But I'll let everybody go. Have a good night.